Hello, sixth graders. We are continuing our Unit 6, our integers unit. Today we're going to learn about subtracting integers. Our learning target is I can subtract integers. So on your notes, you should have the title, the unit, and the learning target written down. If you're using the note template, have that out ready to go. Something to think about here, how could you write a subtraction expression to represent this number line image? So if we were going from 0 up to 6 and then back -7 and we land at -1. How could we write that as a subtraction problem? So down here, just something to think about. If we took 6 minus 7, we had 6 and we're taking 7 away, that would get us to -1. If we took 6 and we added 7 negatives, that would also get us -1. So we have the opposites here. 7, -7, and either way, one of them is a subtraction, one's an addition problem, but either time we end up with the same result. So when we subtract integers, this right here you should write down. In order to subtract integers, we are just going to add the opposite. So what exactly does that mean? Well, if we are taking 4 minus 9, we don't have enough to take away in this problem, so that's why we're going to change it. We are going to change it from a subtraction to an addition problem, and then we are going to add the opposite. Well, the opposite of a positive 9 is a -9. So now we took 4 minus 9 and changed it into 4 plus -9 to get -5. And that's just then using what we learned in adding integers in order to solve this. Next one, 7 minus -10. If we change that to an addition problem and then add the opposite of -10 is a positive 10, we end up with a positive 17. Okay. So now we have some more that we're going to do. Subtract positive integers. Okay, so we've got a subheading here that we should write down in our notebook, and then these examples to go with it. So 8 minus 13. So what we're going to do, we're going to keep the first number the same. So we're trying to take away more than we have. Keep the first number the same. We're going to turn from a subtraction into an addition problem. And then we're going to make this the opposite. So that was a positive 13. Now we are going to turn it into a -13. Remember the parentheses around here just to tell us that it's a negative and not actually a subtraction. Now we can follow our normal adding integers rules that we learned about. So the signs are different, so we're actually going to subtract. So 13 minus 8 is 5. And we have more negatives. We have 13 negatives and 8 positives. So then that means our answer is going to be a -5. So that's what we're going to do each time. -10 minus 7. So again, keep the first number the same. We're going to then add the opposite. So this is a positive 7. Well, the opposite of a positive 7 is a -7. Now, the signs are the same. Both of them are negative, so we can just add them together. So 10 plus 7 is 17. Since they're both negatives, that means our answer is going to be -17. So pause, try these ones on your own, and then watch through to see if you did them correctly. So 6 minus 12. We're trying to take away more than we have. We only have 6, and we're trying to take away 12. So keep the first number the same. Change it from subtraction to addition, and change the second number to its opposite. So again, this is just a positive 12, so we're going to make it into a -12. Now, since the signs are different, we're going to subtract. So 12 minus 6 is 6. We have more negatives, so our answer is going to be a -6. Next one, -20 minus 15. So we have 20 negatives. We're trying to take away more negatives. Keep the first number the same. Change from subtraction to addition. Take the opposite of the second number. So it was a positive 15, so now we're going to make it a -15. Both numbers are negative, so we add them together. 20 plus 15 is 35. And since they're both negative, our answer is going to be negative. Last one here, -22 minus 26. Keep the first number the same. Turn it to an addition problem, and then make the second number opposite. So it was a positive 26. Now we're going to make it into a -26. Since both the numbers are negative, we can add them together. So that would be 48, And since they're both negative, our answer is negative 48. Next subheading to add is subtracting a negative integer. So when the second number is negative, what do we do? We're going to follow those same steps that we were doing on the last page, or on the last problems. So we're going to keep the first number the same. So 1 minus a negative 2. Keep it as a positive 1. Change from from subtraction to addition. And then change the sign of the second number. So it was a negative. Now it's going to become a positive 2. So 1 plus 2 is 3. The reason for that is we're trying to take away negatives that we don't have, which makes them positives. This is something that, a little trick that we call chop chop. So when we have a minus a negative, we go chop chop, and it turns into a plus. So on this one, keep the first number the same, negative 10, change from subtraction to addition, and that was a negative 7, so now it's going to become a positive 7. Signs are different, so we're going to subtract them. 10 minus 7 is 3. We have more negatives, so my answer is going to be a negative 3. Pause, try these ones on your own, and then come back and watch. 4 minus negative 12. Again, you can think of this as chop chop, so we chop the minus and we chop the negative. Or keep the first number as a positive. We never, ever, ever change the sign of the first number. It always stays the same. Change from subtraction to addition. And it was a negative 12, so now it's going to become a positive 12. So 4 plus 12 is 16. And they're both positive, so that's why our answer is positive. Keep the first number the same. Chop chop. Change from a subtraction to an addition. Make the second number opposite, so it was a negative 5, now it becomes a positive 5. Signs are different, so we're going to subtract. 15 minus 5 is 10. And we have more negatives. We have 15 negatives and 5 positives. Well, 15 is bigger than 5, so our answer is going to be a negative 10. And the last one, 18 minus negative 6. Keep the first number the same. Change from subtraction to addition. Chop chop. Negative 6 becomes a positive 6. So 18 plus 6 is 24. Both are positive, so our answer will be positive. Evaluating an expression. So this is when we are plugging in numbers in place of a variable. So x minus y, if x equals negative 6 and y equals negative 5. So write that part down so you know what the original problem was. So we're going to plug in our numbers here. X is negative 6 minus y, which is a negative 5. So we're keeping both the subtraction and the negatives there. Now following our rules for subtracting integers, keep the first number the same. Looks like we're going to chop chop on this one. So subtraction becomes an addition problem. Negative 5 becomes a positive 5. Signs are different. We have a negative and a positive, so we are actually going to subtract. So 6 minus 5 is 1. And we have more negatives, so our answer is a negative 1. Try the next ones on your own. Plug the numbers in for the variables. Make sure you have this written down. Evaluate each expression if a equals 5, b equals negative 8, and c equals negative 9. So let's see here. We have b minus 10. Well, b equals negative 8. So negative 8 minus 10. Now, integer rules. Keep the first number the same. Change from subtraction to addition. And change the sign of the second number. So it was a positive 10, so now it's going to become a negative 10. This is, like up here we had that chop chop that we could remember. This one is chop minus. So you chop this into a plus and change this into a minus or a negative. Now, negative 8 plus negative 10, they're both negative, so we just add them together. 8 plus 10 is 18. Both negatives, so our answer is a negative 18. A minus b. Well, a was a 5 minus b is negative 8. Using our integer rules, keep the first number the same. Again, we never change the sign of the first number. Chop chop. So change from subtraction to addition. Change the sign of the second number. So it was a negative 8, so now it's going to become a positive 8. And 5 plus 8 is 13, both being positive, so our answer is a positive 13. Notice, again, I'm saying the same things every single time. I just follow those same steps again and again and again. C minus a. So c is negative 9. minus a is 5. Now, following my steps to subtracting integers, keep the first number the same, change from subtraction to addition, change the sign of the second number, or chop minus. It was a positive 5, so now it becomes a negative 5. Now both numbers are negative, so negative 9 plus negative 5. Signs are the same, add them together. 9 plus 5 is 14. Both the numbers are negative, so that means our answer is going to be a negative 14. Couple word problems for you to try. The temperatures on the moon vary from negative 173 degrees Celsius to 127 degrees Celsius. Find the difference. Okay, difference right there is telling me subtraction between the maximum and minimum temperature. So notice the order. Maximum is listed first, so that's what we're going to list first. And the max is 127. Again, difference means we're going to be subtracting. Minimum is listed second, so that's the second number that we're going to use, and it's a negative 173, so negative 173. So really, now what we're going to do using our integer rules, we have a minus negative, chop chop, keep the first number the same, change from subtraction to addition, change the sign of the second number, so it was negative 173, and so now we're going to change that to a positive 173. Add these together. I'm going to just do some addition over here on the side. 10. Okay. So the difference between them is 300 degrees Celsius. Okay. So really, if we think about this on a number line, here's our number line. Here's 0. Here's the maximum at 127 and the minimum at negative 173. What we just found by finding the difference is how many numbers are in between that whole entire span, which makes sense, 300. Next one, the Dead Sea's deepest part is 799 meters below sea level. A plateau is to the east of the Dead Sea, rises to about 1,340 meters above sea level. What is the difference? So again, difference right there is telling me subtraction between the top of the plateau and the deepest part of the Dead Sea. So again, noticing the order of them, the top of the plateau is listed first, so that's the number I'm going to use. So 1,340 meters above sea level tells me that it's going to be a positive number. Difference, again, we're subtracting. The deepest part of the deep sea is listed second, so that's going to be our second number. Now that is 799 meters below sea level. Anything below sea level is a negative. Using our rules for subtracting integers, keep the first number the same, change from subtraction to addition, and change the sign of the second number, chop chop. So the negative 799 becomes a positive 799. So really we're going to be adding those together. Both of them are positive. So just do some addition over here on the side. 13, 10, 11, 2, 2,139. Both are positive, so my answer is positive, and it looks like that will be meters. So again, thinking about that number line, if we were finding the difference from here, that 1,340 and negative 799, we just found how much is in between those two numbers. Just like we had for adding integers, make sure that you write this part down. This is what we want to remember, subtracting integers. So key concepts, this is what your big takeaway from this video. 1, always leave the first number alone. 2, change the subtraction sign to addition. 3, change the sign of the second number. So if it's a negative, it becomes a positive. If it was positive, it becomes negative. And then add using our addition rules. And you can remember chop chop if you have 2 subtraction signs, and chop minus if it's a subtraction sign and a positive number. So make sure you have that in your notes. That's everything for subtracting integers. Please make sure that you have the title, learning targets, vocab, all of the examples written down with the original problem and the final answer. Check your understanding. Is this something that you could explain to a friend? If not, go back and rewatch any part of the video you're stuck on. Check out the other teachers' videos. You can find some practice problems on iExcel. Make sure you have your notes in class so that they can be there for helping you on assignments. So put them in your backpack right now.